All right, so I'm just going to explain the commissions and group sales volume and just kind of explain it a little bit easier for some people that may be new or just need a refresher. Hopefully everything makes sense and I'm pretty clear. Here's my little lip wall and my little crown from Patty. Here, this would be a good spot. And then my glitter wall. All right, so let's try this out here. I'm gonna use my gloss as my pointer. So this is me, my red hair, and my money, and my Senegence blue bag. So we'll just say this is me then. My hair is a little bit nicer than that though. So let's start with just downline commission. So this is my first line in the purple. So I have 6 ladies who have done an order, and no matter what the size, as long as it's 100 PV or more, I'm going to earn 10%. So this person here did a 1,000 PV order. That's $10 for commission, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10. So every time that anyone orders, even if you only have one downline, you're always going to earn $10 on that 100 PV. Okay, so then let's just go straight over to group sales volume. So you will always earn your group sales volume on your first line as long as you've done a 100 PV order, and that goes for commission and for your group sales volume. But let's be honest, our magic number is always 300. I always encourage everyone to do minimum 300 because then you'll always be eligible for rank increases, and you just always want to encourage people to do at least 300. But my strategy is I always like to front load, and I always encourage people to do that because it's the best bang for your buck, and your whole month is then 50% off. So, but we'll just say for now, 300 PV, and the other magic number is 5. We always want to have 5 people at 300 PV because then we're guaranteeing that we're always eligible for our commission, group sales volume, and rank increases. So always remember that, 5, 300 PV. And that's just always consistent, and that way you'll always just qualify for everything that you really want. Okay, so the first 100 PV, we already said you get 10%. So the difference remaining after that 100 PV, you would get 10% on that first line. So for that person that did 1,000 PV, the remaining of that 900 PV at 10% would be 90. This person here, the difference is 20, 30, or 350, so that's 35 GSV for dollars. This person here only did 100 PV. So we've already collected our commission on that 100 PV, so there's no group sales volume for that person. Next person, 20.5, and then this person, 65. So if we add up here, your total commission on those 6 people that ordered 100 PV or more is $60. But this is where it gets exciting. Once you have people who have more than 100 PV, it can add up pretty quickly. So we're earning 10% on the difference after that 100 PV. So just that right there is $230.50. So here's our total. And then we always want to times it by 1.2 because we're in Canada. And that total just on your first line there is $348.60. And you'll see all my lovely Canadian money making it rain. So this is when it gets really exciting. And then because we've got that five people that ordered 300 or more PV, we're going to carry those 5 people down just to finish our second, like kind of our diagram for going into our second line. So second line, we're going to earn, just like on the first, on that 100 PV. But when it's your second line, we're earning 20%. So 20% of 100 PV is always going to be 20, no matter what it is for their full order. So $20 for this person. It's right here. $20 for that person because the blue is our second line. $20, $20, $20, and continuing on. So you can see here, it's always $20 for commission on that second line. We always want to encourage everyone to do 300 PV more, but if they don't, we'll still get that $20 on that 100 PV, and ensuring that we already have at least 100 PV or more. But we always want to do that 300 PV because we're going to want to earn our group sales volume on this line. So when we get into the group sales volume, because we brought down our 5 from our first line that did 300 or more PV, we're going to look at see how many people here. Do we have 5? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do. So the computer will not recognize that we have 5 here, and then go ding, 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 and then start counting the group sales volume that's remaining. So remember we've got 200 PV difference for this person that did 300 PV. That'll be $12. This person only did 100 PV, so we don't get group sales volume for there, but that's okay, we got 20. And then continuing on, so we add up the difference after that 100 PV, and then let's total that up. So we've got $20 for every person who did 100 PV or more. That's $140 just on commission. Now, if we add up the difference, that's another $141. So 281 times 1.2 for Canadian again, that's another $309 on top of the $348.60 you just got. Crazy. So, not everyone's on their third line yet, and I'm working on mine, but this is where it gets really exciting because this is where it really can go into that pyramid shape and start to really grow. So I brought over my 5 people from my first line that did their 300 or more PV because we still want to earn on our third line. So we need that 5 on the top, 5 on the second, and then did we have 5 on the third? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, not 300, but that's okay. 4, 5, 6. Okay, so back to the commission. Third line, you're getting 30% on that 100 PV. So for every green person that's done 100 PV or more, we're getting $30, which can add up pretty quickly. Now, when we get into our group sales volume, that's 4%. So we're going to take the difference after the 100 PV for everyone that's done 100 PV or more and start to calculate that for our group sales volume. Right? So it goes all the way across. Everyone else already has their $30 for their commission. So commission is 210. The group sales volume is 118. That's another 393.60. So you can already see how much we've already earned just on our top 3 lines. So when we get to our 4th line, it still stays the same way. We're earning on that 100 PV, but when we get to our 4th line, we're earning 5%. Okay, but another qualifier, in order to get our commission on our 4th line, these 3 lines here, 1, 2, 3, it has to be cumulative of 10,000 PV. So we always want to encourage people to front load and do their minimum 300 PV orders, and the more people you build on each line, the easier it'll be to have that cumulative 10,000 PV. If you don't get that, then you won't qualify for the commission on your 4th line. If you do qualify with the 10,000 minimum PV, you'll earn the 5% on the 100 PV, like from before, and that would be $5. So, and then after that, anything above 100 PV will earn for group sales volume 3%. So it's that same system, we're just going a little bit lower with the percentages, right? And so if we want to earn on the 5th line, it's the same as the 4th. We always want to have the 5 people on each line to qualify for ranks and for group sales volume. But in order to qualify for commission and group sales volume on our 5th line, you would need to have these 3 lines not only doing 10,000, but they need to do minimum 15,000. So, like I said, the more people you have on each line, the easier it'll be to have that cumulative value. Another cool thing is compression. So say here, we'll go back to my first line, or we'll go here, actually. So say this person here doesn't order for the month. For whatever reason, she just doesn't order. She needs to order at least 100 PV to collect on her first line. So if she doesn't order at all, that brings this person here, who I would have been earning 20% on the first 100 PV and 6% on group sales volume, that makes her compressed to my first line. So all of a sudden, I'm earning 10% on the first 100 PV and 10% on the remaining value. So that actually works out. So if somebody on your first line doesn't make their order, but they have a team that is ordering, you're not missing out on that. They compress up a line to you. So that's a nice thing about our company and the compensation plan that Joni set out for us. I hope this has made sense for you guys. I'm sorry I'm not the most coordinated with my little bougainvillea gloss. But I hope it makes sense. I tried to make it a little bit fun here and a little bit clear without doing too many of the bubbles, because that can get quite overwhelming. But just say just this thing of how to break it down. $10, $20, $30, and then eventually when you're calculating the group sales volume, that'll get easier and easier as you go. However, Remember the rule, 5 at 300 PV. Always make sure you're doing that because you never want to miss out on your group sales volume, because that could be a difference of a couple hundred to a few $1,000s. So we always want to make sure that we're encouraging our teams to do that 300 PV and teaching their teams to do the same way. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys, and I will talk to you all later. Thank you.